Those who can, do. Those who can't, teach, said George Barnard Shaw in his drama series written in 1903. Do you agree with that, Lloyd?
I'll tell you if I agree with that. But firstly, I just want to question you. So who is George Bernard Shaw then? Have you just found a quote from the internet and you don't even know who said it?
I did read a little bit into it, and he did some drama series on TV. But yeah, I don't know much about it.
If we're talking about needing to be taught stuff, I need to be taught how to be better at life.
Why?
I'm trying to start some healthy habits, which is a positive thing.
You're right.
Great. So one of those, I'm exercising more regularly, and I'm also trying to make myself eat breakfast, because I find I skip breakfast, get crazily hungry, lunchtime just trying to eat everything I possibly see.
Right.
And so new routine this morning, had some yogurt, some blueberries with some seeds all mixed, and I actually really enjoyed it.
I figure out what you've done to fuck this up.
But because, I don't know if you've ever had this, changing my normal morning routine. So I've just changed that one thing. I just had breakfast, right? But because I've done that, so firstly, my, how to say this politely, my number 2 schedule has gone on out of whack.
Right, okay.
So we're sitting down to record podcasts at work. I feel like I need to go.
Right,
Normally I just go once in the morning and then 12 times throughout the day, and it's fine. And also just didn't put my contact lenses in, so I'm already getting a headache trying to read anything.
Right, interesting.
So it's been a tough morning for me.
Cool.
I made one positive step and taken a lot of steps backwards and made my day harder.
Thanks for sharing that.
That's all right.
Anyway,
into what you've actually asked me.
So
yeah, I was going to say, tell me, you're asking me this question.
Yeah.
I haven't answered
Okay.
you. What are your thoughts?
So so the whole thing is like, do people who basically aren't good at something teach it because it's easier? That's what that kind of quote's saying. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I feel like I and we have both sides of the coin here, experiencing both sides of the coin. Because I don't know if you remember, Lloyd, but when we started Knowlton, previously called KPS Digital Marketing, I'd say at least 50% of what we did was training.
Yeah.
Around that?
Yeah, I would say so.
And even, I think the last kind of proper training we did was in Dubai at the end of 2019. I went out and trained a load of marketers. So we've done that. And I'd say after 2019, we kind of have heavily shifted into actually delivery, delivering marketing campaigns, creating great content, running ad campaigns for clients. So we've done both. Now, my honest opinion, from doing both, is that I personally think training is much easier than delivery, because when it comes
delivery, you mean like
doing it.
Yeah.
When it comes to training, from my experience, if you obviously have to get good at knowing how to train people and how to deliver training well.
Yeah, there's all the hard bits you have to get better at to be a good trainer.
Yeah, and make it engaging, and make sure people are listening. And that, but in terms of when it comes to them applying what you've learnt, whether that's successful or not is ultimately down to them. So you don't really have responsibility whether what you've taught them is actually working or not, because if it doesn't work, you can say, well, you didn't do it well enough.
Yeah, the responsibility on you as a trainer, I guess, is to make sure the people you're training enjoy it and feel that it's useful at the point of delivery.
Whereas when delivering marketing support or marketing campaigns, doing, there's nowhere to run and hide. Not all the responsibility, because clients need to provide you the information they need and that play their part, but almost all of the responsibility is on you to get the results. So you can't just say good stuff.
You're responsible for doing it. That's
and we're going to tell some stories in this episode for things that have triggered us and why we think. Well, no, I'm going to share some things why I think sometimes training is unethical. But yeah, that's just my thoughts.
I think a lot of people will be surprised when you've said training's unethical. I think people will be like, why the hell would training be unethical? What are they going on about? I think that's going to be, people just won't get it until we go into it. But before we get into the thing of why we think a lot of the time when people are teaching and training is unethical and rubbish in general, to explain that, because this is a bit of a rant and could be seen as a bit of a negative episode,
right?
Which isn't us. We're not very negative normally, are we? I just want to let you know, like, the positive side of this. So we are going to have a bit of a rant on people that are teaching and training and that we believe are having a negative effect. But personally, I think for long-term success in business, I think you need to strive to be the best at something. And I think we're going to go into detail, but some people are giving something a go, sometimes for years, sometimes for weeks, sometimes for months, and then thinking it will be easier if I try and teach someone this rather than carrying on trying to be the best at it. And I think it's possible to get some short-term success from then training others, but I think to really be fulfilled and provide the most value you can and potentially earn more as well, if that's one of your goals, I think striving to be the best at something is always going to be a long-term positive, which is why...
Yeah, I was going to say, what are you trying to get at?
So I'm saying, like, this is why this rant we're having, I think, is supposed to be a positive thing of, like, we're spreading this positive message that actually that's not the right way to go in a lot of circumstances, and a lot of people in business are going that way. So, and also, as you said, it can be unethical, so that's something we want
and I think, again, like, trying to sort of balance out the argument here, there are lots of great trainers out there in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to talk through some of the things I think about education and the types of people I think are brilliant at training. But also, like we've said, there's a lot of bad stuff out there. So hopefully listeners who are listening to this episode this will help you, because it will help you avoid the bad ones and sort of...
I think also, if you're a trainer listening to this now and you know that you're brilliant...
it's not aimed at you.
Yeah. No need to get defensive. We're trying to defend what you do. And make sure that only people who are brilliant and know what they're talking about are being paid to train others.
So I wanna share a bit of a story, Lloyd, just to set the scene for...
Gather round, children. It's story time.
So, and I can't go into real specifics, but you'll get the idea. So in the last 10 years, we went to a live event. Well, it was a few years ago. And it was a big event abroad, and
a bit more detail. Can you
one of the thousands of people there, and one of the key speakers came to the stage, and one of the event organizers sort of told the story of this guy, and he was originally a plumber. And he told the story of this heartfelt story. It's quite emotional. And I was like, oh, this is really interesting. Told the story of how for years he'd be trying to be successful as a plumber, but never quite could get there. Like, I don't know, he obviously wasn't doing certain things he should have been doing to really grow the business. So he sort of kept plodding along until one day he decided to join TikTok. And he started to create these videos on TikTok, basically educational videos talking about, here's how you fix your tap. And like in creative ways, creating, tapping into trends and stuff. And it was like, yeah, well done. And he absolutely blew up on TikTok, like got millions and millions of views. And he's started a YouTube channel, and across social, he's massive now. And he basically pivoted his business from being a plumber to creating like a membership site and stuff, and to train other people how to be a plumber. And how brilliant is that, Lloyd? Like, he had a failing business as a plumber, and now he's got a hugely successful business teaching people how to be a plumber when he was a failed plumber. Can you see what's wrong with that?
Well, I think that's great, because clearly he's turned his story around and he's a great success now.
Yeah, and then you think about it and you think, wait a minute, he wasn't good at the thing he's teaching people, and now he's teaching people how to do the thing that he wasn't successful in. And I remember you and I left the room after.
They were like, everyone was like, this guy is absolutely amazing. Think how he's turned this around. God, yeah. Oh, what a story, how successful.
And we both sort of left and looked at each other, and we both sort of said, are you thinking what I'm thinking? Like, what's going on there? A failed plumber is teaching thousands of other people how to be a plumber.
He couldn't make his business a success. So rather than try to continue to work to make his business a success, he chose to teach people how to make businesses like his a success, even though he couldn't do it.
And this goes back to, again, like I said at the start of this episode, why I think training and I may ruffle a few feathers here, training is easier than delivery, because he probably knows a lot about plumbing. Of course he does, because he did run a plumbing business, and he can teach people that stuff, but he hasn't been successful in it. So how can you teach others when you haven't actually got to where they want to get to?
And I think this is obviously one example, but there's examples in every industry, and there's so many online courses, so many people popping up, teaching various things, various industries, skills, services, how to build this sort of business, how to do that. And I just really think it's a big negative, and it's taking advantage of people. So just to make this really clear, like with this plumbing example, so one side of it, that everyone was hundreds, I don't know if it's hundreds or thousands.
It was thousands
of people in this room cheering, this guy's done an amazing thing and gone from a failing business to being so successful, teaching other people how to have those failing businesses. So they were celebrating that individual success. Now, to make it really clear, think about everyone that's paid him for his courses and how to build a successful plumbing business, even though we've got the evidence he doesn't know how to do that. Think of the negative effect this guy is having on an entire industry of people that are paying him to teach them. And like we're saying, we know he doesn't know how to do it well.
They literally said that.
Yeah. So these thousands of people in a room celebrating this individual success is actually, oh, it's so good you've managed to get money from other people because you've persuaded them you can do this even though you can't.
Yeah.
And I think we need to get away from this being a celebrated thing. And it's like, oh, individually I've got to sell this course, and it doesn't really matter if it's going to be valuable to others or not.
I think if you're listening to this and you're training other people how to do something that you've never had success in, I think you're unethical. Wait. So, and I'll take it to the education system, right? So I did business management with marketing at Brighton University, had a variety of lecturers who spoke to us about all this theory to do with business. So-and-so in 1903 said this thing about business and you should do this and do that. But when you actually speak to them and ask them, have you ever run a business? Have you got any of the... Like, I wouldn't dream of giving advice about marketing if we hadn't done it and had success in it. But like even levels of success.
I'll play devil's advocate here.
Go on then.
I think... I don't think everything in life you have to have done to teach well.
Okay.
So I think there's separate things here. So, for example, my biology teacher at school, I think, was a brilliant biology teacher. I think that he just started as a biology teacher. I don't think he was like doing experiments for years. Yeah, I don't even know why that's called.
Scientist.
Do you see what I mean? So like he studied to a level where he could deliver in a grammar school. Pass my Kent test, or 11 plus as it was called, at that level, and pass on really valuable information to people. So I do think it's not, you don't always have had to like, oh, I've had this career for 10 years and then I've taught. But I think it's this whole kind of world online now, and especially in the business world, where there's this thing of, it really is people thinking that, I don't know, do they think they know everything about it, or do they know that they don't, but they're just happy to sell a course on it?
If you think everyone wants instant gratification, this is why the whole world of like courses and stuff, where it's like become a millionaire in 5 steps, and people are buying them because they want the quick, easy route. But to be successful, there's no quick, easy route. There's probably some examples like unicorns of people who have tried one thing and suddenly got hugely successful. But to get there, it takes a lot of time. And I think this is why people are buying into this, because it's these people who are training are making it seem easier than it is.
Yeah.
In whatever it is they're training.
And that's where the kind of ethics come into it as well. So because potentially they don't understand how hard it actually is and the challenges, because they haven't actually experienced that and they don't know how to do that, they make it sound easier than it is. And also it's the unethical thing of not only are you making it sound easier, but you're kind of acting as if you you've been there and done this and you know this stuff, but you haven't.
I also think a lot of these people aren't bad people. Like, I actually think, you know, and I'm not going to give exact examples, but we've spoken to people over the years who have moved from running failing businesses to running training businesses, and I don't think they get this side of it, the unethical side. I think it's more like, I could help people by sharing what I know. And it's sort of like, yes, you could, but if you're positioning that as you're sharing what you know because you've achieved something that you haven't, it's unethical. I think you're right. I think there's very few nasty people or bad people that are like, I'm going to manipulate people. There definitely are those out there, and you see them online, the people that are selling the get rich quick schemes and all this sort of thing. But I think the majority aren't bad people. They're just thinking, it will be easier for me to sell this course on this thing and put together the course than work hard for 9 years and actually do it. And I think, like, we've spoken quite a lot about things like writing a book. Right, you and I, we have said at some point in our life we want to write a book.
Yeah.
But we've had a small, like, comparatively a level of success with the business. You know, we're doing all right, but I still don't feel like I could write a book to teach people, because we're still making loads of mistakes and trying to figure it out. We don't know all the answers. We haven't figured it out yet, have we?
I 100% think we could sell a book right now. I'm not 100% confident that book will be a brilliant resource for people, because we haven't got enough. What we don't know yet, and we need more experience. And we also had, you know, I suppose it's not just courses; it could be books as well. A couple of years ago, at an awards event for business, a guy came up to me and was telling us to write a book and saying, I just put one out. I didn't even write it. Just outsourced it. Got a ghostwriter, put my name on it, and everyone thinks you're an expert because you've got a book. I think that's the kind of thing. Like, you can make some money in the short term, but if you're going to go down that route of you're just trying to get money out of people and you don't actually care, so it's not the right route to go down.
Like we said, there are definitely brilliant trainers out there.
Need to make that clear. Yeah. There are so many good teachers, trainers, so many good courses you can take. Yeah. There are brilliant.
So if people, like, obviously lots of people want to learn, and courses can teach them those things. So if you were going to invest in getting training from someone, or like a course, or what kind of due diligence would you do to check that? Because some people are really good at marketing themselves, and it's difficult to tell if they have actually been there, done it, got the t-shirt, or if they're just brilliant marketers. And
do you know what? I think this is really hard to do these days. I think previously I would have said, make sure you have a look and check they've got some customer testimonials of people that have been on the course. But these days, there's not only can you do that and fake it, but also people can enjoy the course and think that it's been good in the short term and say how good the course has been. Yeah. And then you only realise 3 years later, God, that guy I did the course with. Like, now I've actually learnt more about this. He had no idea what he's talking about.
Like, you shouldn't, if you've just done a course, you should never immediately do a testimonial on the course because you haven't applied what you've learnt yet.
You could write a review saying how much you enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it.
Fair enough. Because that's what we're saying. Like, good skills of a trainer and a teacher can make you really enjoy the session. And that's brilliant. And that's part of it. But you shouldn't be saying, giving reviews saying, this had a massive effect on the business because or you know, whatever I do, because you haven't spent long enough to know if that was good enough.
I suppose, like, again, being devil's advocate, some people are like good at motivating people to kick them up the arse to go and do something. So that's less tangible in terms of, I did this course and I achieved this. It's more like, I did this course and now I'm motivated and pumped up to want it. So I guess there is value.
There are some kind of like membership services and sort of consultancy services in business that really, like, over half of it is just holding you accountable, and you're going to have this sort of expert, in inverted commas, have a fortnightly call with you and say, have you done those actions you said you'd do? And that's more kind of coaching, you know, and it's pushing you the right direction. I think that can be really valuable for people.
I also, if anyone's listening and you completely disagree with us or completely agree or have something interesting to say, please do share. Like, we share clips from this on social, and it's a great place to start a conversation.
The reason we wanted to have this conversation, I think we kind of felt no one was talking about it. So we understand. I think there's going to be a lot of people who disagree because we haven't seen people talking about this online. So I assume it's not a common feeling or thought. I don't know now we've said it and people are listening whether you agree or not. Or like we said, I mean, we could get backlash like when we said accountants are rubbish once. Hopefully we don't. But I guess turn it around to that positive. Like what I am trying to get out of this episode is the positive message of, obviously, if we all have more ethical businesses and we care about each other and the business community, that's a positive thing. But also, like I'm saying, I think in a lot of cases, for long-term success, fulfillment, happiness, financial success, I feel, like I said, that striving to be the best at something rather than maybe steering off and going, oh, maybe I could teach this, I think is a better option for a lot of people. And people are getting distracted and persuaded to run courses and things. I don't think it's necessarily a good thing.
We recently did an episode on how to overcome imposter syndrome and self-doubt, and it was one of our most liked episodes and most downloaded episodes. What I'm slightly concerned about this episode is what about the people who are actually in a position where they should be training because they've been there and done it, but now because they've listened to this, they're now doubting themselves and thinking, oh no, should I be? I guess what gives you the right not gives you the right, but what is an ethical?
Well, I think nothing gives us the right to judge which people are good enough to train people on which courses are good. Like,
but this is our podcast, so we're allowed to talk about it.
Yeah, we're allowed to talk about it. But I think that's the thing. Like, we're not in a position to say, right, that person isn't good enough, that person is. We can't make that judgment. But I think what we can do is persuade people to think about themselves and what they're doing and think, actually, is this a good thing? Could I be taking a different route and not doing training, and it's better for me and it's better for my customers? And we can also, for people that are signing up for these courses, I think spread the message of just do a bit more research and make sure you're really confident in the person training you, so that you can get to if you're going to sign up for a course, because there are some brilliant ones out there, you're really going to get a positive outcome from it. I think that's what I want to make people think, rather than just, I don't want anyone to go online and go, yeah, everyone doing training courses is shit, because they're obviously not.
I also think it's mainly a case of managing expectations. So, like, take us as an example. We are now a team of 11. We're nowhere near the size of some of the biggest marketing agencies out there, thousands of people. We could potentially train marketers who are one-man bands that want to start hiring their first few people, because we've been there and done it. And
we'd provide a lot of value for
that. The plumber who was a failed plumber, maybe he was a failed plumber, but it's all kind of subjective. Maybe he had a few consistent clients and he might want to teach people how to get a few consistent clients. But it's about managing expectations of what you've been there, done, and got the t-shirt in terms of results, and managing that rather than overselling and inflating what you can do.
We're not going to sell a course on how to scale a marketing agency from 5 employees to 200, because
we haven't done
that yet. We might do. We haven't done that yet. Like you're saying, we could provide a lot of value to people who are taking the jump from being on their own or 2 or 3 people to kind of the next level. I think that's a good point.
Interesting rant. I hope this wasn't too ranty. But I think it was just an important topic we needed to discuss.
Be interested to hear any feedback from you anchors, because I think it has been a different style of episode. And I don't know how well it's going to go down. I'm not sure. But open to hear from you guys. And you know what? I might agree with your opinion, and I might not. But I will respect it.
Such a nice guy.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I am.
We'll see you next week.
See you next week, guys. Stay positive. Next one won't be a rant.